Welcome back to Palimpsest Archaeology. In this video, we'll talk about the symbolism behind multi-layered sites. Firstly, these sites can symbolize the winds of religious change. When a building that was devoted to one religion gets turned into a building devoted to another religion, it shows that that second religion won out, or is perhaps more legitimate. This often comes with the language of purifying blasphemous space, asserting the dominance of a particular religion. Basically to say, your gods have no power here. A perfect example of this is when the Ottomans took Constantinople in 1453, they converted the Hagia Sophia, the most iconic Byzantine church, into a mosque. And making it a palimpsest, they added minarets and other decorations particular to the Ottomans. So here you can see that they're saying, Islam has prevailed against Christianity, although there is also an added political element to this. The Ottomans were very politically savvy with their use of Islam, so this was also sending a message of general political conquest. The Spanish did something very similar in Cusco, which was the capital of the Incan Empire. When they conquered Cusco in 1654, they took stones from an Incan structure called Sacsayhuaman and used them as building materials for the Cusco cathedral. Again, this sort of a palimpsest archaeological site sends a religious and political message of conquest. One final very multi-layered example of this is the Abu Haggag Mosque, which was originally a 14th century BC ancient Egyptian temple. This thing is old. It remained an ancient Egyptian temple for nearly 2,000 years, but it was Christianized in 395 AD by some Roman Christians. But then, when the Arabs conquered Egypt, they turned it into a mosque in 640 AD. So this site has 3,400 years of being converted into different religious sites. It's very palimpsesty. Another message you can send while adding layers to the site is governmental reform. For example, Emperor Nero was not the most successful of ancient Roman emperors. He built the Domus Aurea, which was basically a private golden palace. When Emperor Nero died, there was a scuffle for power, and the guy who won out, Vespasian, intentionally leveled the Domus Aurea and built public buildings to send a message that he was different from Nero. He was sending the message that the emperor would no longer be this depraved, decadent figure, and he would be public-minded. And so, Vespasian built the Colosseum on top of a part of where the Domus Aurea used to be. Emperor Trajan did something very similar. He actually buried the rest of the Domus Aurea and built public baths on top of it. Again, sending this message of a return to decent emperors, of governmental reform with his layered architectural sites. Palimpsest archaeological sites can also harken back to an older era. For example, with Spolia at the medieval Casa dei Crescenzi. This is a medieval building that actually has hunks of ancient Roman buildings put into it as decoration. There's an inscription on the building that talks about how it is rebuilding the glory of ancient Rome. This spolia, or reuse of ancient ruins, creates a Throwback Thursday building. In this instance, building one building out of bits of another sent a different message than it did in Cusco. There it was conquest. Here, it's this sense of Roman civic pride. One last thing that I would like to mention is that not everything is symbolic. A lot of the reason that different layers of an archaeological site can build up is convenience. A particular geographic location might be perfect for where to put a city. It might become a nexus for population and trade. So as history progresses, no matter who's in charge, layers build up because people keep occupying the same site. These can create cities that practically have an entire ancient city under them. Great examples are Rome, Constantinople, Cairo, and Mexico City. So, that is the symbolism of multi-layered archaeological sites. Watch the next video to find out how archaeologists actually excavate these complicated locations.